So the set-top box is going to have to be a sort of a conduit for all these different standards and for handing off to all these different devices, even if it's not going to be doing anything else, which I'm sure it is. What about the idea of it becoming a home hub that also contains all of my media, and I'm going to put onto it all of my own video, all my own pictures, or anything else that I want to put on? Do you think that's the case?
Well, I think it's already happening today. I think people already have home gateways where the disk storage is used for all your content. And as I say, the ability to take that content and repurpose it into whatever form you want is already there. And I think it's just going to get more so as technology drives the costs and the capabilities, drives the cost down, the capabilities up. So it's a natural evolution of what we're doing today.
But I don't think you should ignore the role of the PC on the home network. I mean, the problem is managing the content, not necessarily displaying the content. And different devices serve different purposes, from content creation to content consumption. So take people's music libraries, for example. If you want to download if you want to enter track titles, download cover art, organize your library, or stuff like that, you're not going to be using the TV and a remote control to do this. So the idea of shared storage and using the PC for what it's good for, which is content creation, be it downloading or managing your content, and then the set-top box and display devices for what you want to do, which is content consumption. I think you have to hand off the functionality.
So it's the lean forward, lean back thing, and get it right in terms of which one you use.
We see a lot of content enrichment services on a PCs that you just have your list of movies or music, and then it goes, it fetches more information, and it brings IMDb data and rating from the internet. And then when you watch it on a set-top box, on TV, I mean, using a set-top box, it is definitely creates a different user interface or a different feeling, while just seeing a list of,
the nameplate. It's important as
Madonna MP3. Who wants to see Madonna MP3? I want to see Madonna and the pictures and everything.
But if my home network is working properly and it is all integrated, I can do all that research, lean forward stuff on the PC, then say, hey, go play the movie. Okay, now I'll play the movie on the TV.
I mean, there is PC software to do that, and I'm sure this software in the future maybe will move into set-top boxes or these home gateways, but definitely right now, the advantage of using a PC is by enriching the content automatically for you, and you don't need to do anything.
But there is also the thing that the user interface on a set-top box is well designed for the job it has to do. User interface on the PC is totally different. So a consumer, the general consumer in the marketplace is going to be far more happier looking at a set-top box and managing his content on that if you can, than thinking, I've got to go to a PC and manage it then and it's going to be delivered.
You've also got to remember that even a PhD, as soon as he sits on his couch, picks up his remote control and watches the TV, becomes an idiot. No one actually wants to think when they're using the TV. So you can't present complex user interfaces and choices on TV.
But do you think this is something that you get some of these widgets and apps and all the rest of it, and that's exactly what they do, and they're just trying to replicate a browser experience on the TV.
Right. Okay, fundamentally, I think this is wrong, right? You've got, to me, the definition of television is entertainment first, interactivity second, right? Keep the user entertained and do not break the trust of television. The trust of television, I say, turn it on and it entertains me, right? The web and PC interfaces are the other way around. They're interactivity first, entertainment second. You go to a website, you search, you find, you log in, you subscribe, you maybe watch one bit of content. This is fundamentally different in the way you design a TV interface. This is the approach we've taken on designing our reference interfaces.
I think it's quite interesting if you look at something like the Sky Guides, how over time they've actually got simpler in the way that they actually display information, because people have suddenly realised all you want to do is find the right thing.
But there are some precedents there, and when we designed the HD guide, at Sky and also the previous Sky, there were big debates internally about whether or not the consumer expects to find content by the publisher, which is the channel in this case, or by the content item. So Spooks, is it on UK TV or is it on BBC One? So when you move online, it switches, right? Well, Google, when you search Google, it doesn't give you a list of domains that might have the page of interest in it. It takes you to the page, right? When you're online, it's focused on the content item, not the publisher. When you're in broadcast, it is still the publisher because the channel brand has the package.
Channel, date, time.
Yeah, so the overall user experience changes, and when you get online, then you need a better and different interface, and you need more metadata, and you need a bunch of discovery tools.
Well, on the other hand, we see a lot of service providers asking for browsing on TV. Web browsing, and we always try to explain. They said, well, the big screen TV can do it. I mean, the resolution now is good. It's not PAL. And we can do, and we always explain to them, listen, you cannot do browsing on TV. The user experience does not allow you. How do you browse? How do you navigate?
A browser is a critical part of all the set-top box software we deliver to all our providers, so it's key right now.
Let's have this debate because, excuse me, but I think this is very interesting. But, you know, web browsing on TV, you know, is there a consumer demand and is there a business case? And, you know, I'll give you my opinion. I totally agree with you that, you know, browsers as part of the technology to deliver a TV experience are now becoming fundamental because of standards, right?
Right.
But I do not believe that web browsing on TV has a future, right? And I'll tell you why. I don't think set-top box manufacturers can keep up with the pace of evolution of the web. So you're going to be providing a substandard interface all the time. You're never going to be able to support the latest plugins, never going to be able to support all the latest things. So that's a technical issue why the consumer's going to experience it worse than it would be on the PC. But secondly, there's no consumer demand. In the home, you have very good devices that allow you to browse the web, even your iPad sitting on your lap.
Right.
The killer app on TV is entertainment. And you don't deliver a TV user experience by just giving people access to the World Wide Web. And then where's the business model, right? As soon as you just say, okay, I'm an operator, I'm a set-top box manufacturer, type in your URL, have fun. The whole supply chain and business ecosystems of TV begin to get completely eroded, and you don't get long-form content getting there.
Yeah, the only point I'll challenge on that is the technology. The capabilities growing into the set-top box through graphics processors from people like Steve's company and so on will be very comparable to a PC. I mean, there'll be thousands of DMIPs. The graphics engine in the next generation of set-top boxes is multiple times the power, for example, of the iPad or the iPhone.
It's one of those things of just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
And yeah, in terms of the end user experience and requirements, I'm not sure I disagree with you. I was just more talking to the technology. The technology can do it. Is there a commercial need?
So I think we're fundamentally in agreement here. Technically, you can do it, and you can present a decent web browsing experience, but from a viewer's point of view and a commercial point of view,
and bringing it back to the set-top box, I mean, one of its key benefits, certainly for an operator, is that it controls the UI. It's the methodology through which I give you the UI that I want you to use. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the best one, but it's the one that I want you to use, so that I continue to control your experience.
Slight difference there, and that's that you know, you have to differentiate between a consumer-driven product and a network operator-driven product.
But we don't have any consumer-driven products right now. I mean, we've come on to talk about whether there's going to be a retail market.
Well, we have free-to-air.
They're starting to get.
Sorry, yeah, we do. Sorry.
So, and I think what you see is, for example, the free-to-air market, there's innovation from the people who manufacture the boxes, and they see things like the browser giving them some benefit. Whether it does or not, that's how they start selling it. Whereas in a network operator world, I think it's very much a matter of what's the business case, am I going to make money out of it?
And then you've got things like Canvas coming along, and is that going to educate people to want more from their operator-supplied UI that he may not necessarily want to be, or be able to, because he's run out of power on his chips.
So this is it, operators or manufacturer-supplied UI for TV versus the web as the interface, right? Now, you're right, some manufacturers think, if I put full web browsing into a device, I can maybe add it as a feature and consumers will buy it. And I'll sell more product because it's got full web browsing in it. Until a user interface comes along that makes internet video consumption on the TV better than it is on the web. And this is what I've struggled with so much in the last 5 years, really, designing connected TV user interfaces, is if we don't make it easier and better for the consumer on the TV than it is on the web, they will still just consume video on their PC via the web.
But the UI is, you know, the absolutely crucial thing, isn't it? Both in terms of the set-top box, but also in terms of whoever the provider is, because whoever has the best UI will win in the end, as we were just saying in the example of Apple. But until you find that killer one that everybody goes, oh right, that's it, that's how we should do it, there's huge resistance to moving away from whatever you've habituated people to in the first place.
I think one thing that we do need to look at as well is the notion of consumer stickiness. And if we're talking about operator-provided set-top boxes, then the notion of adding enough value around that to make it a truly compelling user experience that would make you resistant to moving away from that particular operator because you've got access to other services, you've got access to your home content that happens to be on a PC somewhere else, you've got access to some, if it's the right thing or not, web browsing, would make it less attractive to then move away to another operator. So I think from a pay platform perspective, there's a lot to be said for building set-top box services which provide more than content from them.